Hey everybody, Frank from A.G.E Outdoors here. I'm going to take you along and show you what I'm doing with the frame. I typically don't do a whole lot of how-tos unless there's not really a whole lot of question to it. And frame repairs are one of those, I guess you could say, taboo areas. Everybody's an expert, but yet nobody can agree 99% of the time. Every fab shop will do something different. Every backyard fab will do something different. And it's one of those things you typically don't, unless you're willing to take a little criticism, you don't usually share. But I want to show you how something was done very wrong with the way that my frame was mated. I've mentioned before that my 98 TJ / 04 LJ, I was told it was an aftermarket frame. Well, if you've been following the last few videos, I discovered it's a segmented frame. And they did what I've heard referred to as a step cut to square it up. However, with the TJ, YJ, CJ frame, I was always shown, and the way I've always done frame stretches, was you use 2x4 box tubing, sleeve it inside, because it fits almost perfectly with a nice snug fit in the frame rails. It also makes it very strong. Well, being I'm not going to cut the frame back and splice it back, the best I can do is I've got some 2.5 3/16 wall box tubing that I cut as the C channel because it happens to be the same dimensions, just a thicker wall than the traffic, and we live in the middle of nowhere, so to see traffic out here is odd. But anyways, I'm doing that as a patch, and then I'm going to do some fish plates over every place it overlaps. So that is the best I can do with what I have, short of ordering box tubing, cutting the frame apart, and re-sleeving it. And ultimately, I have a feeling I will probably end up finding another frame down the road. The more I get into this, the more I'm questioning my life choices, if you will, in the sense I wheeled the snot out of this ring for about 2 years. It sat most of last year, and now I'm going to wheel it again after fixing the things I need to fix. But I'm going to take you along, and I'm going to show you what we've got going on. So, beautiful day here in Michigan. It's upper 50s, almost low 60s, so I'm loving life. And yes, the frame is upside down. Pick on my welds if you want. They hold. They're not always pretty, but some of that is because of combination of prep, patience, and everything else. So what you'll see over here is where I've already done the patch. And same there, that is actually where the lower control arm mount used to be. I cut it out and boxed it in. This is the hodgepodge of what the other side of the frame looked like. Now, for what I found that is incorrect, this is the step weld. But you go inside here and you see gaps. Not real good penetration, just gaps. And this is where the two frames came together. And you can kind of see where it is. And I ground it down a little bit when I got in there. Now, what they did have on this was they had taken a TJ Rough Country long arm kit, which happens to have spanner plates, and they had them welded in about a half a dozen places to the frame, stretching just into that. And I think, based on what I can find for everything on this, they were using that to square the frame. They being, I have no idea. I am the third owner that I'm aware of in Michigan. You got the guy I bought it from. You've got another individual that happened to see pictures when I posted him, that he owned it for a bit but couldn't get rid of some death wobble issues. But yeah, I'm the third owner in Michigan. So, whoever did that, they could have done some beveling, got better penetration. From what I can tell, with all the hairy stringers, it almost looks like somebody used a 110 welder to do it, which I'm sure you could get it to work, But every weld I've pulled apart on this or cut up has left me scratching my head how I didn't snap the frame in half with the way that I wheel it. I tend to drive on obstacles with a very heavy foot. I know I have a heavy foot. It's just the way I drive. When you start in muscle cars, go to imports, and then you get into wheeling, that kind of happens. But with that, the way that I would have done that if I was to have built this from scratch, and the way I probably should try and fix it, but I don't have access to the materials, much less any budget for it right now because I'm currently not working, is you chop the frame, you cut it in a triangle shape, kind of like a fish mouth, either out or in, doesn't matter, or you can 45 it. Then you take and you hole drill through the frame a couple places and you sleeve it with box tubing, rosette weld it, sleeve the other side in the other way, square your frame, weld it back up. Then your repair or your frame stretch becomes stronger than what you started with. That's how this frame probably should have been done, but wasn't. It's not to say you can't do that step weld. And like I said, I call it a step weld. I could not tell you if that's actually what it's called. I've just always heard it referred to as a step weld. It's not to say you can't do a step weld like that and make it strong. I've seen several people, if I'm not mistaken, Fab Rats did a YJ they stretched several years ago. And I think they were able to be successful, but they also got burned through. That doesn't even look like the metal on the backside melted. I mean, the frame is 1/8 inch wall, and to not burn through 1/8 inch, I mean, I'm running a 220, 170 amp Harbor Freight titanium, which, by the way, I've taken it apart, and mine seems to have some Miller components in it, so food for thought. But I'm running upwards of 150, 170 amps, and I'm getting burned through, and that's just the way that I do. I run hot, so if I hit a weld spot or a rust spot, I can burn through it. Whoever did the original frame on this, I'm not sure how they did it, but I don't agree with how it was done. And frankly, I personally think it was done wrong. Take with that what you will. That's just my personal opinion. But again, I am fixing this now, boxing it in a little bit. I'm gonna run some fish plates on it. It will be plenty strong enough when I'm done for what it's gonna get used for. And perfectly honest, when I finally reach a point that I do need a new frame, it's probably gonna go juggy. Might go with an aftermarket frame. I might scratch build a frame at that point in time. Don't know. I'm pretty much assuming that when the time comes for a new frame, I'm probably gonna be ready for 1 tons underneath it. But we'll see. Who knows? I might just drive it the way it is and build another one. But I just wanted to show you guys that, so you see the inside of when a frame's done. Just because it can look pretty from the outside doesn't mean it's good on the inside. Same goes. Just because it's ugly weld, sometimes they hold. I had a welding instructor that say you can either be a good welder or a good grinder, but you're typically not both. Apparently I'm a better grinder than I am a welder, but I have strong welds. I tend to build up a little bit more than I should. It gets the job done. And for what I'm doing, I'm good with that. But I just wanted to show that to you guys. And as always, keep on aging.